If you rely on Social Security, you need to know about the changes that are coming on March 7th because they're going to fundamentally change how you interact with the Social Security Administration. And there's a lot of pros and cons to it. So, I hope you'll stick with me. So, right now, the level of service that you receive from the Social Security Administration is often dictated by where you live. If you live in an area with a lot of retirees and a lot of people who deal with Social Security, you often have longer waits, more difficult access. But if you live in an area where your local office is empty most of the time, you get faster service and easier appointments. And of course, the case they're making now is that your location shouldn't dictate your access to Social Security. So they are trying to create a new national system that is faster and fairer for everyone. But of course, things don't often go as easily as the government would like them to. So this new change is going to create some definite pros and cons. It's going to be great for some people. It's going to be really difficult for others. And that is what we are going to break down here today. So how it works right now before March 7th is most of your business is done with your local office. Your appointment is tied to your nearest Social Security office. You're kind of tied to their calendar and what they have available, and the staffing of that office can really dictate what your wait times look like. What they want to do is shift to a new national system. So they're introducing two things. The first one is called the National Appointment Scheduling Calendar. This is going to be one calendar for the whole country. The other one is the National Workload Management System. And this allows cases to go to any available worker, not just the one in your local office. So basically, they're shifting from a local first to a national first processing system. So that, of course, is going to bring some changes. With the new calendar, you'll be able to schedule yourself at ssa.gov. You won't need to even make a phone call, and you'll be able to pick the first available slot anywhere in the country. Now, of course, you're not going to be driving to an appointment anywhere in the country. If you're in Ohio and the first available appointment is in Texas, that's going to be a phone call or a virtual meeting. It is not going to be an in-person appointment. So that is something to be aware of, especially for those of you that prefer face-to-face appointments. The National Workload Management System is going to be similar. Your paperwork may now be handled by an employee in another state, whoever is available and trained for your type of case. And again, that means a lot of those interactions will be held virtually or over the phone if you need to communicate with that person. So, why is this happening? Well, staffing is at a 50-year low. There are fewer workers per beneficiary now than there were before. We know that about 7,000 people were cut from the Social Security Administration in the last year or so. And their goal is to cut in-person visits by half this year. So if you can do it digitally, if you can do it over the phone, that is what they're going to push you toward because they really want to cut how many people are coming into the office for that face-to-face in-person service. So that sounds good in theory, at least to some people, but the reality is that this could hit low-income seniors and families hard. First, there's a massive digital divide, both generationally but also on an income basis. It's harder for lower-income people to have the tech required to use some of these services. And it can be difficult to navigate. It can open people up to scams. There's a lot of concerns with moving something as sensitive as Social Security to an Alon online system. The next concern is longer hold times. Now, I know they're doing this to cut hold times and wait times for a lot of people, but if you're in an area where the wait times are already low, other people are going to have lower wait times because yours are going to be longer, and that's going to be how that balances out, if that makes sense. And then, of course, local services are going to get more complicated. If your friendly neighborhood Social Security expert was referring you to food banks and other services, that might not be a thing. Now, if it's nationwide and you're being served by someone in another state, they might be less familiar with state-by-state nuances as well. Now, there is some good news with this, though, that your benefits are going to stay the same. They're not cutting your benefits or anything like that. They're just trying to streamline the back end of how Social Security works. Your eligibility rules are not changing, and those field offices are staying open. They're not closing. They're just prioritizing scheduled visits, and your local office may end up serving people in other states. So if you're used to being able to get in there quickly, Like I said, you may find that the wait times are longer or shorter depending on where you live and what that scheduling had looked like for you personally. Now, some things you should do right now if you are concerned about this, you can create a My Social Security account so that you're prepared to book those appointments online and use that system. They are saying that over 100 million people have already signed up for those, and that's really what they're leaning into right now is getting more people on that system. And then, of course, schedule early. If you want to make sure that you're seeing someone in your local office, then you should probably schedule that before March 7th hits and those new systems go online. And then make sure that you're recording case details. If you talk to somebody, make sure you write down their name and employee information, and try to note maybe where they are if you can. It's not going to be as easy as going down to your local office and being like, hey, I talked to that guy, because it may not be that guy. And then, of course, if you have any questions regarding Medicare, our sponsor, Chapter, is absolutely amazing at getting all of those questions answered for you. You can see their number down here or over there. It's always free to call Chapter and ask your questions. They are licensed Medicare advisors and they are extremely helpful. They're the ones I go to with all the questions that I have, so please go check them out. And I would encourage you to go check out our recent video on the bills you don't have to pay if you're low income.